Greetings, adventurers, and well met. I am the Dungeon Master, and I bid thee welcome to the return of Let's Play Baldur's Gate. A Let's Play that I began 7 years ago now, in February of 2010, and an adventure which drew to an unceremonious close in June of that very same year. I first played Baldur's Gate when it was released in 1999. No, not 1999. 1998 by none other than TSR Black Isle Studios, and of course, it goes without saying, developed by BioWare, but you can see that at the bottom left hand corner of the menu. Baldur's Gate was the very first game that I ever Let's Played on my channel. It is the game that introduced me to the wonderful campaign setting crafted by Ed Greenwood, known to one and all as the Forgotten Realms, and also to Dungeons and Dragons in general. It is one of the first role-playing games I ever played on PC, and it is a classic that I still enjoy playing to this very day. As before, with my original LP, I will be playing the classic version of Baldur's Gate, instead of the Tutu mod or the Enhanced Edition that was released recently. Also, you'll notice this time around that I will indeed be playing the Tales of the Sword Coast expansion, as you can see there, whereas originally I was just playing the vanilla Baldur's Gate adventure. Now, I had actually gotten fairly far in my quest of Baldur's Gate, but unfortunately, for various reasons, I had to put the adventure on hold. And to be perfectly honest with you, adventurers, I wasn't sure if I would ever return to this Let's Play series. I tried to put this off for so long, thinking that maybe I could branch out to other Let's Plays of other games. A few of them I have completed, some of which I've succeeded at, such as my Let's Plays of Mist and Riven in particular, and others that I started but ultimately never got around to finishing. Well, that all changes now. I'm returning once again to the Forgotten Realms and to Faerun with Let's Play Baldur's Gate. Now, I should mention that there is a mission pack here with the Tales of the Sword Coast expansion, and I'm going to show you the message for it right here. Tales of the Sword Coast has installed new areas within the existing world of Baldur's Gate. All previous areas are still accessible to your party. The experience point caps in Tales of the Sword Coast has been increased to 161,000, allowing you to gain new levels, items, and spells. Basically what this means is that originally you were only able to reach to about, say, level 6 or 7. Now it is entirely possible to reach, I think, about level 9 now. To immediately start the mission pack load, let me read that again. To immediately start the mission pack, load your final save. Doing so will transport your party to Olgoth's Beard. This is one of the new places in Tales of the Sword Coast. If you do not have a final save, you may use the save game mission pack save to start the mission pack. Note, you do not have to choose this method to enjoy the new areas. If you wish, you may load any save game and walk to the town of Olgoth's Beard, where all the new adventures begin. To avoid this message box, you can use the load game to get to the load screen. And there is the mission pack save that starts all the way in chapter 7. And there is a pre-arranged party right there, but we're not going to do that for the time being. In fact, we're not even going to do that at all. We're going to start a completely new adventure this time around. Which brings us once again to the character generation screen. To the left are the 8 options which you can use to craft your own character and persona to interact with the peoples of the Forgotten Realms. Or you can use the import character option. You can import a cleric, a fighter, a mage, a thief or even a multi-class character, but I'm going to import a character that I've created, which is different from the character that I used in my original Let's Play. That character that I used in my first adventure, Nal Timber, the half-elven ranger of neutral good alignment, was a character that was actually created by my father when we first played this game back in 1998. But this time around, I've crafted my own character, complete with a custom portrait. I will be a human male thief of chaotic good alignment. My stats are, well, they're pretty good actually. Strength of 15, dexterity of 18, constitution of 16, intelligence of 11 and wisdom of 10, and charisma of 16. Because I am a thief, my skill proficiencies are 20% to stealth, 25% to find traps and pickpockets, and 40% to open locks, and my weapon proficiencies are 1 to small sword and 1 to the bow. Now, I originally was planning to show you the entire process of crafting a character, but after trying to record this a number of times and failing to get through it without interruption, I decided to import the character off screen and show you the nearly completed character sheet that you now see before you. Now all that's left to do is dress myself for the occasion to try and match my avatar to the portrait that I've chosen, and also the sound of my voice.
Onward! I feel this is my rightful place.
That is the default male voice. Here is male 1.
Death to you all!
Indeed.
As it should be.
Next up is male 2.
Your life ends here.
I alone belong here.
And finally male 3.
Time for a bit of the rough and tumble.
Ha ha! I'll lead 'em well.
Actually, I'll let you listen to the female voices as well.
All will die. None other than me should be in this place.
It's the first female.
Your life shall be mine. I deserve to be leader.
Female 2.
Death will come swiftly for you. There are none more capable for this position.
And female 3, but we're going to be none of these voices. Instead,
Onward! I feel this is my rightful place.
we're going to be the default male voice, because that is the one that I almost always use, and it is my favorite by far. And finally, I need a name for my avatar, and I have the perfect name. Rushagast Grey Helm. There we go. A very fitting name indeed for a chaotic good male human thief. Wouldn't you agree? But that is the name of my avatar, my persona, the identity that I shall be assuming in this Let's Play adventure. So without further ado, let us play Baldur's Gate.
Nestled atop the cliffs that rise from the Sword Coast, the citadel of Candlekeep houses the finest and most comprehensive collection of writings on the face of Faerun. It is an imposing fortress, kept in strict isolation from the intrigues that occasionally plague the rest of the Forgotten Realms. It is secluded, highly regimented, and it is home. Within these hallowed halls of knowledge, your story begins. You have spent most of your 20 years of life within this keep's austere walls, under the tutelage of the sage Gorion. Acting as your father, he has raised you on 1,000 tales of heroes and monsters, lovers and infidels, battles and tragedies. However, one story was always left untold, that of your true heritage. You have been told that you are an orphan, but your past is largely unknown. Lately, Gorion has been growing distant from you, as if some grave matter weighs heavily on his heart. You have asked about his concerns as gently as possible, but your queries have been in vain. Your sole comfort is the knowledge that he is a wise man, and you know he will tell you when the time is right. Nonetheless, His silence is troubling, and you cannot help but feel that something is terribly wrong. Today, Gorion has appeared more agitated than ever, and now he has uncharacteristically interrupted your chores in the middle of the day, imparting hurried instructions for you to equip yourself for travel. He has handed you what gold he can spare, but given no clue as to why. Nevertheless, you now stand before the Candlekeep Inn, ready to purchase what you need for an unplanned and unexpected journey.
And thus, our quest begins. And as the narrator said, we are now here before the Candlekeep Inn, and the sounds of jovial music can be heard from within. We have 70 gold pieces, the gold that was given to us by our foster father Gorion, to purchase any and all equipment that we will need for this rather rushed journey. The only thing we have at the moment is this quarterstaff. The simplest and humblest of staff weapons, the quarterstaff is a length of wood ranging 6 to 9 feet in length. High quality quarterstaves are made of stout oak and are shod with metal at both ends. The quarterstaff must be wielded with both hands, and here are the weapon statistics. Deals 1d6 damage, damage type crushing, weight of 4, speed factor of 4, proficiency type blunt weapons is two-handed, and anyone can use a quarterstaff. That's good. Other than that, we don't really have anything of value apart from our gold. Here is my hit points, of which I have 8. Normally I would have 6 because I'm a thief, but due to the fact that I have a constitution of 16, I get an extra 2 hit points. In fact, anyone that has a constitution of 16 gets 2 extra hit points. Fighters, on the other hand, if they have 17 or more constitution, they actually get extra hit points. This is something that is not available to any other class but fighters. And here is my armor class. Normally an unarmored person has an armor class of 10, but because I have a very, very high dexterity rating, I get a -4 to my armor class, which means I automatically start off with armor class 6, which decreases whenever I equip myself with armor, with any type of armor. That is because Baldur's Gate uses the 2nd edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons rules, one of my favorite rules of all time. Although I do have to admit, I do enjoy the latest release of the 5th edition of Dungeons and Dragons. I actually played a few games in the real-life tabletop version of Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, and I actually found the whole experience quite enjoyable. So this is our inventory, and this is our map of our immediate area and a map of the Sword Coast. There's our journal, which updates itself whenever anything of importance happens. Our records detailing our character and the information that is fairly useful there. Thieves level up rather quickly. We only need 1250 experience to reach level 2. I believe most other classes require at least 2000 experience to reach level 2. We have a Thaco of 23. Thaco is to hit armor class 0. And this decreases as we level up, obviously. The way that Thaco works is that, say I'm fighting against an enemy that has an armor class of 10, for example, and this is my Thaco of 23. That armor class of 10 would be subtracted from my Thaco, and, well, virtually I would have to, if I were playing the real-life tabletop game, I would have to roll a 13 or higher to be able to hit that enemy. I'll just briefly go over these stats. This is all stuff that you already know. Law of 3. Law allows you to, depending on how high your law is, you can actually identify certain items without the use of an identify spell or going to a place where somebody can identify items for you at a cost of usually 100 gold pieces. I have a average reputation of 11 because I am chaotic good. Interesting thing to note about Baldur's Gate, reputation actually plays more of a role than alignment actually does. And to a certain extent, charisma also plays somewhat of a role as well. Obviously, the more lawful good you are, the higher your reputation will be. And depending on what actions you actually, if you do good deeds and things that are clearly going to have your name spread far and wide as a paragon of virtue, your reputation will go up. Also, you can increase your reputation if you donate to any temples throughout the realms. I'm gonna try and play to my role, because chaotic good characters, as far as the description goes and the character creation screen, chaotic good characters, they don't mind following the rules in any such any of the usual fashion, but when lawful types start putting their authority down is when things tend to go rather south. But that doesn't really come into play in Baldur's Gate. Because I'm a thief, I have a backstab multiplier of 2. The way that backstab works is that I can use stealth or hide in shadows to conceal myself from an enemy. And depending on what happens, I actually have a chance to deal backstab damage while I'm hidden in shadows. That's the way that works, I believe. There are my saving throws. Paralyze, poison, and death is 13. Rod, staff, and wand 14. Petrify and polymorph 12. Breath weapons 16, and spells 15. My ability bonuses, I have no bonuses to hit and damage because I have a strength of 15. I have open doors of 15 and weight allowance of 120. There's my minus for armor class, my plus 2 to missile and reaction adjustments due to my high dexterity, the plus 2 hit points per level because of my constitution, and I have plus 4 reaction for my charisma. Now, this is just a basic list of information that doesn't really apply at this point, but an interesting thing to note is the biography. This is one of my favorite parts of Baldur's Gate, the flavor. And because I'm a thief, my biography begins thus. Inspired by your foster father's colourful tales of rogues and scoundrels, you have spent your childhood yearning for intrigue. On the stage of your imagination, the ambling, preoccupied monks of the keep have often played the secret lords of Waterdeep, their purses ripe targets for your nimble fingers. On more than one occasion, Gorion has asked you to very tactfully return a pen or an inkwell to the pocket from which it came. The more valuable of the keep's treasures remain impenetrable to your wiles, but you have little desire to steal from your benefactors anyway. You long for more appropriate and accessible pickings. The first part of the biography is different depending on what character class you pick at the beginning of the game. Because I'm a thief, I get this opening to my biography, but the second half of the biography is always the same. You know little of how you came to be a ward of Gorions, but over the years you have gleaned something of your mother's tale from his vague allusions and from the words he sometimes uttered in tear-filled sleep. She was a human from Silvery Moon, and a friend of his for many seasons. As you have no memory of her, nor any keepsakes to remind you of her existence, you have come to believe that she died while giving birth to you. Perhaps it was the pain of such a parting that led Gorion to cloister himself within the narrow halls of Candlekeep and raise you as his own. Of your father you have learned nothing. Very ominous indeed. So we are an orphan under the tutelage of the sage Gorion here at the heart of Candlekeep, which is the repository of all knowledge not only in the Sword Coast, but possibly the entirety of the Forgotten Realms. Of course, since we are neither a mage nor a priest, the mage book and the priest scroll do not apply to us in the least, and finally is the options screen. And back to the jovial music. Is our weapon equipped? This is little device here shows us how much time has passed. You have the guard option, where you can talk to various NPCs, such as the Watcher, which is the guards of Candlekeep. There's quick weapons, quick items here on the side. This icon here is a special abilities icon, which we don't have. And finally, these three icons here relate to our classes of thief, of which we've been training for many years. This one is find traps. This one is thieving, which allows us to unlock padlocks and things like that. And finally, this one here, our stealth ability, allows us to hide in shadows. And we fail to hide in shadows because these people are watching us. I wonder if I can... No. My stealth is 20% anyway, so hiding in shadows isn't going to do me much good for the time being. But enough standing around. Let's get some equipment. Can't keep Gorion waiting all day.
Not a problem.
There is the lovely music of the Candlekeep Inn, and there is the proprietor of the Candlekeep Inn, our good old friend Winthrop.
My hotel's as clean as an elven arse.
I'm very sure it is, Winthrop. Well, hello there, young one. Come to visit your old pal Winthrop, have ye? Well, don't forget the 5,000 gold piece book entry fee as per Candlekeep custom, don't you know? You always were the big kid of Winthrop. That gets funnier very nearly every time I hear it. Well, perhaps not quite so often. Ha! Just having a bit of fun with you, my friend. Them monks may be walking about with poles in their nethers, but you know you're always welcome here in my sight. Gorion did well by you, he did. So, is there anything I could do for you? Some drinks? A room to sleep or anything to buy? Sure. What do you have? Now we have, rooms is what Winthrop has for us. We have the peasant room, which costs 1 gold piece, or an adequate place to rest. Rooms of this type offer little more than a roof over one's head. Recuperative benefits will likely be minimal. You get what you pay for. Basically, if you're injured, you can go to a inn or a tavern, and if there are rooms available, you can sleep at one of them, and depending on what room you sleep in, you get health back. The time you sleep never changes, whether you sleep in an inn or whether you sleep outside in the wilderness. It's always 8 hours, most of the time. Merchant rooms, which cost 3 gold pieces, a favourite of the frugal business traveller. Rooms of this type are basic but comfortable. A good solid mattress and clean linen, for when one must awaken presentable, but not so pampered as to promote oversleeping. Third room we can get is noble rooms, which cost 5 gold pieces. These rooms are of excellent quality at a somewhat reasonable price, and a definite luxury for those accustomed to sleeping under an open sky. None but the most pampered dandy would have complaints with these accommodations, and trust me, there are many a pampered dandy that can be found, both here and throughout the cities of the Sword Coast. And finally, royal rooms, which cost a whopping 8 gold pieces. A truly luxurious experience at an equally exorbitant price. Beds filled with the softest down, draped with the finest Kalimshan silks and linens. Nearly as restful as a week in a lesser room, though who but royalty could afford the cost? Or maybe adventure-seeking thieves, for that matter. Who said that? I did not say that. I do not rob graves. What are you talking about? Forget you heard that. Here we have the shop where we can buy and sell equipment. Any items in red mean that we cannot use them whatsoever. Such as these bows here. We can't use the composite longbow or the regular longbow, but we can use the short bow, which is quite helpful. But we don't want to buy that for the time being. We want swords. Now, we definitely want the short sword because that's one of our proficiency weapons. The short sword is the first type of sword to come into existence. In the simplest of terms, a short sword can be considered a dagger with a blade so long that it can no longer be called a dagger. The term short sword does not exist in sword classifications. However, it has come to be used to describe a double-edged blade about 2 feet in length. The sword tip is usually pointed, ideal for thrusting and backstabbing too. Statistics: damage 1d6, damage type piercing, weight and speed factor of 3, proficiency type small sword, one-handed, and druids, clerics, and mages cannot use this weapon. We want that because it is a very good weapon, especially for a rogue such as ourselves. Now we want armor. We can't wear metal armor, but we can wear leather armor and studded leather armor. Leather armor, despite the popular misconception, is not soft and supple like the leather used to make a ranger's boots or druid's robe. That kind of leather offers no better protection than common clothing. Statistics: armor class 8, weight of 15, and mages cannot wear armor whatsoever. Studded leather armor has little in common with normal leather armor. While leather armor is a hardened shell, studded leather armor is soft and supple with hundreds of metal rivets affixed. The rivets are so close together that they form a flexible coating of hard metal that turns aside slashing and cutting attacks. The soft leather backing is little more than a means of securing the rivets in place. Armor statistics: armor class of 7, weight of 25, much heavier than regular leather armor. And again, cannot be used by mage. Costs 28 gold. We'll take it. Don't have enough gold to buy the short bow for the time being, and we can't use any other shields, but we can use bucklers. A buckler, also known as a target shield, is a small round shield of wood or metal that fastens to the forearm. Because of its size, it is light and can be worn with very little restriction to movement. Has an armor class bonus of 1, but it doesn't provide protection to missile or piercing attacks, which is rather unfortunate. Has a weight of 2, and we can use it. I'm gonna buy it anyway, even though I won't be able to equip it when I have a bow in hand, because bows are two-handed weapons and you cannot equip a shield while you have a two-handed weapon equipped, and vice versa. Also can't use a helmet, which is rather annoying. See, the short bow costs quite a bit of money, as you can see. Short bows were the first to be developed, although they were not called as such. This is more a default term that refers to anything which is not a longbow. Short bow staves are about 5 feet long on the average. As the years passed, attempts were made to increase bow ranges. Bows were either given longer staves or flexibility was increased with no change to the length. The former resulted in what is now called longbow. The bows themselves don't do any damage, but they have a weight of 2 and a speed factor of 6, and they are two-handed. Interestingly, for some reason, if I can find the crossbows, a thief cannot normally use a crossbow, such as the heavy crossbow, as you can see. Thieves cannot use the heavy crossbow. But for some reason, I don't know if this is a glitch or not, but the light crossbow in question, as you can see, not usable by thieves, except for some reason, thieves can use light crossbows, and thieves can be proficient in missile weapons, and yet for some reason it says thieves cannot use crossbows whatsoever. Yet I can actually use the light crossbow, which is kind of strange. Anyway, arrows, which are the ammunition that we will be firing with our bow. The flight arrow, as its name implies, is built for distance. These are lightweight arrows and are often used for hunting. Most of these arrows are made of ash or birch and are 30 to 40 inches long. They deal 1d6 damage, they are missile piercing, they don't weigh anything at all, and you need a bow to fire them. And needless to say, clerics, druids, and mages cannot use arrows whatsoever because they can only use slings. And the total equipment we have here weighs 34 pounds to our total 120 pound capacity. We can also purchase drinks at Winthrop's Tavern, if there are, any taverns available at the inns scattered throughout the Sword Coast. We got blood wine, which costs 8 gold, fire wine, which costs 1 gold, mead, 4 gold, bitter black ale, 1 gold, Arabellian dry wine, 2 gold, and that's all that Winthrop has on the menu anyway. Drinking a sufficient amount of alcohol might entice the innkeeper to provide a room or two, provided on how much gold actually greases their palm. I might have a sip of blood wine. I know that costs a total of 8 gold, but we have a rumour from Winthrop. I heard there's some sort of trouble in Nashkel. Something sinister has been moving about in the mines. I only heard second hand though. Someone ought to find out for sure. So there's trouble in Nashkel, and our journal has been updated. The rumors of something disrupting operations in Nashkel and the Nashkel mines contributing to the iron shortage. Well, that's not good. There's an iron shortage going around the Sword Coast. This is known as the Iron Crisis, and this will play a huge part in our adventure, unfortunately. And we can also see in today's entry that the date is the 1st of Myrtle in the year 1368, which is the year of the banner. Myrtle is kind of like the equivalent of May in the in Dale Reckoning terms, which is the calendar of the Forgotten Realms, which is not quite the same as our regular Gregorian calendar here in real life. I would recommend looking up the Baldur's Gate manual or the Forgotten Realms wiki for more information. In fact, there are a lot of things about the Forgotten Realms and the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons rule set in general that I would actually recommend either looking in the player's manual or any kind of online wiki for any to understand the rule set. You don't need to understand the rule sets in order to play Baldur's Gate, so I want to keep everything as brief as possible. Now these green robed monks are known as tutors. They basically give you instructions on how to play the game at the cost of breaking immersion. Now we're going to go in here, and though I actually do feel some trepidation at this. For this, I believe that this must be Winthrop's room right here. There is a chest over here, which is locked. And I am going to pick it to see what's in here. Lockpick succeeded. Appear to have 18 gold pieces, and appear to be 2 magic scrolls. Now, because of my stealthy ability, I'm able to be as quiet as a mouse, and thus not alerting any guards. Of course, I can't be quiet if I choose to break open the chest with my quarterstaff. And I'll just take this dagger, and there is a
No time to chit-chat.
nobleman right here. One of the pampered dandies that I mentioned just a few moments ago. Let us head upstairs for now and see what the guests have for us. Let's see what loot they have. 4 gold, which is excellent. We only need a few more gold pieces and we'll be able to purchase that short bow, which will come in quite handy. And another locked chest, which is no match for us, because we have 40% to open locks. These people are currently sleeping, even though it's kind of the middle of the day. And making sure that no guards, no one else is listening in, I'll just take this 36 gold and this potion. I actually have a look at the scrolls. Armor scroll, which is part of the Conjuration School of Magic. By means of the spell, the wizard creates a magical field of force, otherwise known as a force field, that serves as if it were scale mail armor, arm class 6. It is cumulative with dexterity, and in the case of fighter mages, with the shield bonus. The armor spell does not hinder movement, adds no weight or encumbrance, nor does it prevent spellcasting. It lasts until successfully dispelled or until the duration runs out. This is the Infravision Scroll of the Divination School. The recipient of the spell gains the ability to see with infravision, or seeing in the dark, just as an elf or dwarf would. Yeah, that's kind of handy. We have the silver necklace, which is a piece of ornamental metal jewelry, usually made of silver, gold, or platinum, or other precious metals, and adorned with gems. A necklace is always worn on the neck and can be of any length. And as it says, we can actually wear the necklace, although it doesn't really do anything because it's a necklace. Now, having a look at this dagger, the typical dagger has a pointed, usually double-edged blade, as opposed to a knife which has a single edge and is a bit shorter than the dagger. Daggers deal 1d4 damage, piercing damage type, have a weight of 1 and speed factor of 2, and they are also classified as small swords, which is quite handy. Now this potion is a potion of clarity. This potion will maintain clarity and order from encroaching chaos and insanity. After drinking this potion, the imbiber feels an overwhelming feeling of calm and purpose, such that he will be unaffected by threatening influences such as feeble mind, confusion, and charm. This feeling will last for the duration of this enchantment or until dispelled. Basically, it prevents feeble mind, confusion, fear, and charm, and its duration is 5 turns. What if we could sell that at some point? Or maybe who knows, we might actually keep it for usefulness. Unfortunately,
Don't
there's someone in
touch
there.
me! I might catch something.
Yeah, yeah, I don't like your tone there. I was just wondering who else was sharing the inn with me tonight. Who might you be? I might well be anyone, but I am Christian of Waterdeep. Likely you would not know of my family name or history, and that suits me well and good. These trips to Candlekeep are a bit of an extravagance on my part, and while I use no elite substances and neither consort with hired company, I spend quite enough here that I should not like it common knowledge. To this end, I should appreciate it if you would forego your odd little attempted introductions and leave me to my thoughts. Boo to you, sir. Yeah, I really do not like noblemen. I don't like them at all. Now, this chest is locked, and I want to see if I can actually pick this lock. Lockpick failed. Nope, I'm not making any headway with that. I'll have to come back for that one. There's another man over there, and there doesn't appear to be anything in there. It appears I can't talk to you for some reason. It does that sometimes.
Don't touch me! I might catch something.
I might catch something from you. Anyway, we're done here. Nothing else for us. So let's head back down to Winthrop.
My
There's a lovely
hotel's
fire
as clean
going
as
on.
an elven arse.
As good to see you as any other I could have laid eyes on. Make yourself as comfortable as you will. If you wish for anything, just ask. Excuse me for a moment. Sorry, had a bit of a cough there. Oh, we can sell... we can't sell the scrolls. We can sell the dagger, but I don't want to. We'll sell the necklace. And that gives us a total of 82 gold, which means we can now purchase the short bow. Which is very good. And I think I shall purchase 3 quivers of arrows. 1, 2, and 3. Probably should equip ourselves for the outdoors. Now we have an armor class of 3, because that's 7 minus 4 is 3, which is very good. Now, just equip my arrows, my quiver, which is 60 arrows, and if I were to equip this buckler now, I can't do that because I have a 2-handed weapon equipped, and if I were to equip buckler and then the bow, yeah, so that's how that works, which is, it makes sense. Reorganize my inventory, and I think everything is in order. There's one final person that I need to talk to in the Candlekeep Inn, and that is this individual here. His name is Firebeat Elfinhair.
So hard to find decent folk nowadays.
Ah yes, I'm back within the hallowed halls of Candlekeep. With this iron crisis upon us, the trip from Baragos was more hazardous than I care to relate. You're Gorine's ward, aren't you? My, you have come into your own. If you would permit an old man jealous of you to say so. I left an identifier scroll with Tectoral in the inner grounds. You should be done examining it by now, so if you could fetch it for me, I'd be grateful. Our journal has been updated, meaning that we have an errand to run. Firebeat Elfinhair, an old mage who makes the occasional visit here from Baragast, has left an identifier scroll with Tectoral in the inner grounds. I swear, without me to run its endless errands, this keep would crumble into the very dust from which it sprang. True indeed. True indeed. But I believe we are now done with the Candlekeep Inn. We've, well, I think we've purchased all the equipment that is necessary for our adventure with Gorine. So, I'm going to save the game here. BGLP 01. Prologue 4 hours. Save successful. So when we return adventurers, we shall head outside and we shall start fulfilling the many errands of Candlekeep and also exploring our home. As always, until next we meet.